Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Just Bleed Radio. Today is Sunday, July 21st, 2024, and this is the Weekend Roundup.
Just bleed, just bleed radio. Just bleed radio.
What's up, y'all? This is the Weekend Roundup, proudly brought to you by Just Bleed Radio, your weekly wrap of all things face punching, because we are the official home of combat for casuals. We're going to get into some fun topics today, including a summary of last night's UFC event, a bit of Paul versus Perry, and probably even some stuff you never expected. So stay tuned and don't touch that dial. I think most of you know my dumbass by now. I'm LazyBed, but I'll go ahead and introduce the rest of the crew. The king of Central California, the crusher of cold frosty cans. It's our Michael J. Caboose. He's no special.
Yes, thank you. Yes, happy to be here.
Unfortunately, due to a baked bean mishap, missing in action today, the man who once lived across the street from a castle, the only Brit I know that loves big guns, fast cars, and cheap booze. That should have been DangerMouse. And a couple of true lovers of the finer things in life, like infused flour pre-rolls and regional MMA, the men who make the magic happen, our producers, Super Dave and Chatri.
That was Chakri.
All right, so before we go any further, you already know what it is. Go ahead and hit us with the old thumbs up on the like button. Maybe slip in a comment. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button too. Free content every week that doesn't cost your cheap ass a dime. Without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Guys, what seemed like a rather pedestrian weekend of fights coming in turned out to be some relatively fun and exciting events. There ended up being several things we can discuss and get into. So let's just start off with the UFC card yesterday. Virna Jandiroba versus Amanda Lemos from the Apex, a fight night that, again, didn't look amazing on paper, but did deliver for the most part. Now, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on these, so we'll just get into a few fights very briefly, starting with the main event. As I just said, Virna Jandiroba versus Amanda Lemos, strawweight division. I believe Virna was number 5 coming into this, and Lemos number 2. Nasty looking submission via armbar, 448 into round number 2. Karakara, I believe is how you say it. Her nickname, looking like
That
an
was good.
absolute. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Looking like an absolute terror of this women's 115-pound weight class, making pretty damn easy fucking work of Lemos. Big win for her here, and she would seem to be sitting pretty for a possible title shot against the champ Wei Li. No special, with Tatiana Suarez sidelined yet again with another injury. Do you feel Jandiroba is up next for a shot at the champ? And what did you think of her performance last night?
Oh, I mean, without a doubt, she's next in line. I mean, because what else? What other contender can you say currently that has earned several wins in a row against the top 10? Who else can you give her? It's her. Secondly, she looked great. I mean, granted, she still didn't really have a striking game, so that's it's not great. But I mean, Lemos did the thing where she tried to, play in the same, game that Jandiroba was just like way too good at. Even if she's getting like some success, eventually there was just something that she couldn't overcome. Thankfully, she tried to keep the fight on the feet. It's not that Jandiroba isn't capable of winning against like Wei Li or any of the other top 5. I think this one just Lemos tried to play the game that she wasn't better at than her opponent, and I think that kind of added to her detriment here because like she landed some damage blows from like top mount at a couple points.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was a bad decision to try to play in that game. Hey, I'm letting you kind of play in my guard, or because right off the bat, Jandiroba took like a bad shot, just literally sprinted at her.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Lemos just like, okay, I'll take this. It's fine. I didn't get anything because she tried to do a guillotine right off the bat. But I, I would just hope if I'm her coaches, you concentrate on nothing but striking, because that seemed to be the one thing that Whaley struggles with
mhm,
against better strikers. So it's not that she's not capable. It seems like Whaley is just well rounded enough to kind of compete against everybody now. But if I'm Jandiroba, I'm working on that striking just a little bit. You know,
yeah, yeah. I think she could definitely do first, even just some of the basics. Simple 1-2, some footwork, just simple stuff that I feel like if she really buckled down on it, focused mainly on that aspect, she could improve on, pretty quickly. Uh, Not sure of her age off the top of my head. I want to say she's 33, 34. So that's not exactly old in women's MMA. Oh, 36. Even still, I feel like she's still got some time to sharpen up
it's not
things.
the same. No, it's exactly. It's not the same as men's division, because
Yeah,
usually it's a lot worse for men. But at the same time, it's like you gotta look at what the division looks like right now, and the division's just a mess. I mean,
yeah,
that's the case with most women's divisions right now, but this one's in particular.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, like I was saying in the little lead up there, this win over Lemos ought to move her to the number 3 spot. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the only person above her besides the champ that she will have fought yet will be Suarez, who is out with injury. So yeah, I think if you're Jandiroba, you got to kind of just hang around and wait for that title shot. I don't know if I'd want to jeopardize this streak that you're on and uh, the spot that you've earned. By taking another fight, you've kind of earned this spot, and yeah, I think she's basically secured the title shot. I don't see. Yeah, who else, like you were saying, Austin? Who else do you pit against Wei Lee at this point? Like,
Well, the reasonable answer is Suarez, but I don't know how long she's injured,
hmm
like when she'll be recovering. I mean, I think if there's anyone else that deserves a title shot, Suarez might, and it might be one of those situations where it's good to take advantage of her while she's in healthy condition. If she is healthy, to just throw in the title shot instead of push it off longer.
yeah,
This is her third injury though. Like, she's not 35 or 8 or 40. She's like in her early or mid to early 30s, right? She's not old, but like, come on. Like, what have we what is happening in her practice room that just allows for her tendons to just be torn away from her, or her neck? She suffered injuries in collegiate wrestling too, or amateur wrestling. I don't know. There's just somebody's trying to. She's either injury prone, or she's just, I don't know. Yeah, because she came back.
yeah,
She came back this year twice.
yeah. Well,
She
I
came
think
back
that
twice.
the question kind of becomes, if you're the UFC and you're the matchmakers, do you really want to give her a title shot? Because if she does win, you end up with a unreliable champion on your hands that's going to be injured and out for extended periods of time, and you find yourself in
A
another one of
la
these
Cain
interim.
Velasquez,
Yeah, you find yourself in
Dominic Cruz.
another interim title situation.
Like they kind of did that same. Like Cruz was always getting injured and stuff, and he came back and he got that win against uh, a Japanese fellow. I forget his name, but they decided to end up giving him a
Mizukaki.
title shot because they never knew. Like, all right, let's quit fucking around. Just get
Yeah,
him a title shot with he's healthy, and he ended up winning. And that didn't turn out that bad. That might be the exception and not the rule. My thought with Tatiana was just you were saying who else could reasonably have a say in saying they deserve it, and I'm saying that I'm not saying she should get it, but Suarez would be a legitimate option.
yeah, yeah,
She actually did call
yeah,
out
Yeah.
Jandiroba. If she, like Tatiana said, if she didn't get a title shot, she wanted Jandiroba. I think this was in January though.
I was
So
gonna
yeah,
say.
Jandiroba obviously deserves a title shot, and if Suarez is injured, I just think that people tend to forget about Suarez sometimes, and I think she Probably does deserve a shot if she's ever healthy again. I don't really care though.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that's the question. Will she ever be healthy again? And does she ever find herself back in this mix? Because she's been the definition of unreliable throughout her UFC tenure. So I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see. We'll see. Let's move this thing along here. Yeah, let's go ahead and get on to some rapid fire on a couple of the other fun fights from this card. And if you guys got something to add in, at the end or after, feel free. We're just gonna rattle off some of these other fights from last night. Uh, Bantamweight fight: Cody Gibson versus Brian Boom Kelleher was a good one to watch for all 3 minutes 58 seconds it lasted, albeit pretty one-sided on Cody Gibson laying the fucking thunder on Boom Kelleher. Cody Gibson's always in fun fights. He's a big dude for the weight class. 36 years old. He's representing for the older dudes. Got to show him some love for that. But yeah, he was putting a hurting on Kelleher and eventually did lock up a nice arm triangle and got the submission. Gibson is a history and economics teacher in California, so shout out Cody Gibbs.
Let's go. That's why I picked him. Man, smart.
Yes. Like I was saying on Discord, the only fight that I switched all week, and I'm glad I fucking hopped off that Kelleher train.
He won. He could have won the Ultimate Fighter. That comeback season that they did,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a veteran. He's a veteran. Brian Kelleher is a journeyman. No offense to him. He's great. He's a fun dude to listen to. He's got great takes and stuff like that. He also does rap, I think. But
Yeah.
he's a journeyman fighter. There's no shame in that. I mean, Cody Gibson's just a level above him. This is what should have happened. And Cody Gibson showed that he's still a contender in this division. That it's good to see.
Like on Tough, did he lose to what's his name? The Irish. He might be Irish or English. He changed teams. He looks just like the Trump shooter.
Oh, um,
Maybe Brad Katona.
yeah,
That's
Katona.
Katona, yeah.
Is that who he lost to on Tough?
Yeah, that was the final.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a legit. Katona's tough to beat, so that doesn't say that much against him.
Mhm. Yeah,
No,
tough
exactly.
old bet. All right, moving along. Shout out also Hyder motherfucking Emil. Been hollering that there's a hurricane coming all week in the chats. And I don't know who heeded the warning, but you sure as fuck should have. Now, I do know my man Mike Heck from MMA Fighting was on the wagon with me. Emil is just a fucking wild animal out there. He's all gas, no brakes. Melt your fucking face off. He landed an absolutely blistering 38 strike combo to end the fight last night against Zhang Yong Lee before referee Mark Smith mercilessly stepped in.
I was gonna say.
It was merciless on the part of Emil, but yeah, I fucking love this dude. I love that the Scrap Pack trains him. They don't have a lot of guys in MMA as far as I could find. I was trying to look into it, but yeah, shout out to the Scrap Pack. Shout out Hyder Emil. 209 Stockton motherfuckers. It's just a damn shame that he's already 34 years old at 145.
Dear Jesus. He's got short time.
Well, he's making the most of it. He did throw like a 40-piece combo. It did look kind of sloppy a little bit, but it did work. Lots of hooks. I almost never seen nothing like it. It was just
Right off the bat. They just started throwing hands, and I don't think his opponent was ready for that. So it just shows, right? He's like, he's doing what Michael Chandler should have kept doing. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time.
Yeah, get that money and fucking what do they say? Take care of your chickens, like Marshawn Lynch. Yeah, take care of your chickens, Hyder Emil. All right, let's move it along. Lastly, the just 3 quick shout outs for the rest of the UFC card. Shout outs to Mean Machine Steve Garcia, Bruno Silva, and Duho fucking Choi. Garcia scored himself a nice TKO in the impromptu co-main that replaced what was supposed to be the Iron Turtle fight. Bruno Silva had an amazing come from behind TKO win himself against Cody Durden. And of course, the Korean fucking Superboy, he touched down in Vegas and he punched a goddamn hole in the orbital of Bill Algeo. Vicious shot right to the fucking eye socket. You could see it when Algeo crumpled that shit must have fucking hurt. So, yeah, props to all those guys and some solid entertaining scraps there.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a good card. I mean usually in the Apex you're not getting that many great cards, but you're getting a couple of decent fights that carry the event. Thankfully, the majority of the main card was like pretty solid. You know, the kids watched it and enjoyed it pretty much.
Yeah, I know you did. I'd also like to give Doohoo quite a quick shout out just because I think he had this was like a second fight in 5 years or 4 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came to the octagon, I actually thought he looked visibly older for the first time. Looked like super old man boy almost, and I was like really worried. LGO's good. He's tricky, but man, he just went in there and did the dang thing and looked pretty good. And also, I want to give a quick shout out to that dude Thomas Peterson, fat boy, that hopefully beat Muhammad Usman out of the UFC. I was a little surprised to see him on the opening card, like the opening fight of the card, but he is coming off some decision wins and then a loss. And Thomas Peterson, I guess he looked real bad his last fight, but he came in there last night and got a fairly decisive win. And good riddance, Muhammad. Normally, when they put you on, if you're a heavyweight and they put you on the opening card, you lose again, get you. So hopefully, good riddance. And Thomas Peterson, you suck too, but thank you for.
Hey, he won. He did the thing. What do you mean he sucks?
Dude, they're heavyweight. You can suck and win.
That's a good point.
You can be middleweight and suck and win.
Peterson looked absolutely horrible in his last fight against Jamal Pogues. Like he had zero head movement. And I said it on the Discord last night. Like he was out there looking like Kenny Florian, moving his head and throwing the jab. Like, geez, buddy.
Yeah, I would like to give Lazy a quick shout out for that one. He was totally right. Because then in the post-fight interview, he kind of reiterated what Lazy said. He was like, I was so disappointed in myself. I went and I trained, worked on head loop and all that shit. So good eye, LazyBed.
Yeah, shout out.
He's got that eye for talent, that guy.
That's why I do a podcast. All right. Let's keep this thing rolling. The UFC wasn't the only show in town last night because we also had the meeting of a couple of donks down in Florida. That's right. Jake Paul faced off with BKFC's Mike Perry in the squared circle for what was certain to be one of the most ridiculous things we would witness all year. Perry made the walk after being introed by two members of Bone Thugs, at which time I said, if he loses now, he's dead to me. So that tells you everything you need to know. Jake Paul did his best Triple H impression for his entrance and donned a set of gladiator gear that looked like he bought them. It looked like he bought them at a Spirit Halloween store.
That's fair.
And, sometime around 1 a.m., they finally did the thing, and they had the fight. If you don't know by now, Paul would stop Perry via 6-round TKO after virtually battering Mike around the ring for 15-plus minutes. And then he did the other thing. But let's get into that in a second. Boys, did either of you watch? And if so, what did you think of Perry's performance? And by that token, what did you think of Jake's performance as well? I don't know who wants to go first here.
Yeah, I thought Mike Perry's performance was typical Mike Perry. Maybe he didn't take Jake as serious as I thought he was. Like, he's normally not very defensively sound, but he looked even worse. And I mean, you can get good boxing critique from other sources besides me, but looked like he was walking in recklessly and just he's not a boxer. He might be King of Violence BKFC, but this looked like a beginning pro or a high level amateur against an MMA fighter that's never boxed before. So, I mean, Jake looked good. The thing is Jake really seems like he has to think about his offense. So those times that Mike Perry was pressuring him and not really giving him time to think about like what he wanted to throw and what combo and stuff, Mike did good. He might have actually won a round or two. But it's just the size and not being able to box. And Jake's combos and his hand speed look really good. I'm not sure about his overall boxing technique, but he had some real speed and a couple good combos. So he's got some talent, and the fight probably went the way it should have, and the way most people expected it. It was kind of fun, a little devastating to see Mike lose. I want to see Jake lose for some reason. I don't know why. I don't have any problem with him. I just want to see an underdog win. But it was an all right fight, and on to whatever's next for Jake Paul.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a moment here. Austin, what did you think of their performances?
First off, fuck the zone. I tried to purchase it the appropriate way, and they tried to get me to sign up for like a subscription service, and I just was kind of confused as to why I would need to sign up for a subscription service if I'm only trying to buy the one fight. Of course, you can't buy just the one fight. You still have to pay for pay-per-views, as well as it's the same as ESPN Plus. When you get the cards that are promoted on there and are available because of the subscription, but you still have to pay for pay-per-views. I'm like, I'm already doing that for ESPN Plus, and it's not as expensive as DAZN. So I'm like, whatever, fuck this. Someone managed to figure out how to get like a video available for it, and thank you, shout outs to that person. That gentleman is a hero in my heart. Because I was not paying for this shit. But no, good entertainment. I would say high level quality was not there. That's not why I watch this. I'd rather watch an Apex card than most boxing fights. But I'm not in depth with the boxing landscape, more or less. So I mean, when I saw this, I was like, all right, well, it's Perry. I might as well at least give it a shot to see if he can do the damn thing. But turns out that wasn't the case at all. So I don't know. Is it me, or did Perry kind of look like he just struggled with the moment? Because he definitely just seemed like he wasn't sure how to approach Jake Paul. Now, Jake Paul's a big kid, right? I mean, they were saying on the broadcast for some reason that he's like, oh, he's walking around at 230. I'm like, that doesn't seem right.
Well, I think he wasn't sure how to approach it because he's not a boxer. Like, when they were doing the introductions, they showed his BKFC record and said it was like a boxing adjacent type record, and then they didn't put his actual boxing record. I mean, he's just not a boxer.
Well, and I noticed that they claimed on the broadcast that this was his boxing debut. But if you look at like his Wikipedia pages and shit, it says he's 0-1 in boxing. So I think they intentionally left out that one loss just to hype things up a little bit more. Maybe, I don't know.
No, because that's the point. It's like the Ariel was there doing the best he could to hype him up, and I found that kind of like not irritating but irksome a little bit. Like, I just didn't like it because it felt like he was giving Perry more flowers than what you should. Like, you're almost pre-apologizing or saying, or you're like, this is a reason why he's here. It's like, no, this is just a fight. Nobody asked for this fight. This is a fight that we're getting now because the other one, I'm pretty sure nobody wants to see now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As far as the fight goes, like I will preface this by saying that, like you guys both pointed out, we ain't exactly boxing connoisseurs around here, so we ain't gonna have the most technical takes on this thing. But I think, both of you made good points. I think that Mike did look a little bit like he didn't know quite how to approach it, and he was a bit more hesitant than we would usually ever see Mike. And I think a lot of that had to do with like Dave was saying, I think he was a bit thrown off by the speed of Jake Paul. I think he anticipated the power coming in, but I think he was caught off guard by the quickness of Jake's shots and his ability to get that overhand right off, especially quick as fucking shit. And I thought that in his mind, he thought he was going to be able to get in and out of the way of those shots, and it wasn't working out to his advantage. If he would have done a bit more of like I don't know, maybe like a Mike Tyson peekaboo style and kind of trying to bob and weave your way in and out, get inside on the big man and land some shots. He could have found some more success, but I thought
I
going
would
into
have thought. Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say. I thought Tyson Fury style would have probably helped him as well. I mean, hell, anything probably would have worked better than what he was doing.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
the thing is, he can't really do the Tyson Fury style that much against Jake Paul. I don't think just because of the
Size.
Tyson Fury is normally the big
Yeah.
guy. So like I will say about like the Mike Tyson thing, I thought Mike Perry won round 3. He might have won round 4. But what was interesting is Jake was landing a really hard, good jab almost all the night. But in
Yep.
round
Yeah.
3 and round 4, Mike did such a great job slipping him. And he actually, landed some offense in that round, but Jake missed a lot of jabs in those rounds. And I don't know if he just didn't have the cardio to keep it up or if he thought he still wasn't winning the rounds even by slipping the jabs, so he tried something else. But, he did have some good head movement for at least 5 minutes in the fight,
Yeah.
about halfway through, but he just couldn't keep it up or didn't keep it up or what. But
Yeah.
it-
Yeah, it comes with the territory when this kind of situation comes up. He's not a boxer, right? We've all said that. So it was interesting to see him adjust, and he was able to adjust for the short time frame. He was looping those hands pretty wide, and catching Paul off guard a couple of times. But Paul came back and just fucking obliterated him.
yeah,
Was what, 3
here's a-
knockdowns?
What's that?
That's 3 knockdowns. That was 3 knockdowns, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. It is. Okay.
Well, like here's the thing about Jake Paul fights is I don't watch for Jake Paul for some reason. Like when he fought Woodley, I watched for Tyron Woodley. When he fought Nate Diaz and Anderson Silva, I watched for them. I watched for Mike Perry. Like when he fought Tommy Fury, I didn't watch it. I didn't follow social media. I didn't care one bit about it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of only involved just because I tend to be attached to the B sides. And I think a lot of combat sports guys are that way also, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, well let's get to the juicy part of this. Let's discuss futures here. If you're Mike Perry and the BKFC, you've now put yourself out on a limb and you sent in the face of your brand to take on a guy that nobody respects really in the public's eyes. Not only did he lose, but he lost convincingly in pretty devastating fashion. Now, it's only one loss,
Yep.
but it is a loss to a quote unquote Disney kid turned YouTuber. So, do you guys think, does this completely tank your stock as the quote unquote king of violence? And how do you spin this thing forward to your advantage if you're Mike Perry?
You spin it forward by winning your next fight and looking good. And like I'm a firm believer. I know a lot of people are. And you're only as good as your last performance. I think the BKFC crowd might not even have, like some of them might have stole it, but probably that many of them didn't even watch it. I think if Mike Perry comes back to BKFC, has another good performance, it's just going to be a footnote in history. Like people aren't going to. One good performance is all it takes to get people back on your side, I think, in combat sports. Like, look at everyone, using the analogy, like, everyone hated Ryan Garcia, and then he had a good performance, and everyone was back on his side for a day or two until, he went to shit again. But for a short time, everyone was back on his side before he fucked up again. So if Mike, has another good performance, and it'll just be in the past, and not a big. He can still. I don't think it's a devastating blow to BKFC.
I'm just laughing my ass off at Chaudhry in the background over there.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't agree with your take at all. He's just like,
All right, you got a pair of us today.
Austin, what's your thoughts, Austin, on the future of Mike Perry here, and does this hurt his stock?
I don't think it hurts him. Like Dave said, he's not a boxer. He's not a boxer. People who watch BKFC don't watch for the beauty of the striking. They love the violence, just like MMA fans. A lot of the newer fans watch just for the violence. And you've been watching combat sports long enough, you kind of get a good idea of like, all right, well, who's good and who isn't. What's good versus what's bad. High quality stuff versus this is this is gas station shit.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a good point. Like boxing would kind of be like nice cocaine, and BKFC would be like crack. And they're both really good on their own, but the two crowds never intermingle or like exchange information with each other that much. So they're almost like two separate entities, even though they're almost the same. Crack is just fancy cocaine when they're not fancy. But it's not. It's not going to create a situation in between them. They're two separate sports almost that don't interact a lot. So it'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, because let's face it. He goes back to BKFC. Like Dave said, we're pretty much like back at square whatever we left off at for, as long as he wins and wins impressively and emphatically, it's fine. Hell, even if he just goes in and has a sloppy ass war with some random dude, as long as he wins, it's fine. The difference is if he goes back to BKFC and gets slept or just has a poor performance. I think that's the difference. As far as like just where we go from here, I don't need Perry to go back to boxing. I'm happy he got a payday. Good for him. He's not a boxer. Go back to BKFC. We'll actually love to see him in MMA again at some point, but that's not what we're probably going to get. Paul just needs to fight Tommy Fury. If he doesn't fight Tommy Fury, then none of this makes any sense anymore.
That's next. Don't get on Paul yet.
Sorry.
That's all right. Just to give my take here, I'm going to be the contrarian on this one. I'm going to say that this actually does hurt Mike Perry's stock. You gotta take all things into consideration here, and you gotta look at the optics and the reputations here. Mike Perry came into this thing with this reputation as this fucking hard-nosed, bare-knuckle brawler, take no prisoners, walk through anything. You could punch his fucking nose halfway across his face, and he's not going to quit. He's going to keep coming. Like he's Mr. Bare Knuckle. He is the king of violence. That's a pretty bold claim. That's a pretty big title to bestow on yourself. And like I said, you're the face of an entire organization as it stands right now with BKFC. Now, you go in there and you lose handedly to a Jake Paul who is the laughing stock of the MMA community, of the combat sporting community, and you get your fucking ass handed to you. And I mean, yeah, you had a few moments, but you more or less got made to look like a fool in there. And now you got to walk back to BKFC, crawl back with your tail between your legs as your co-owner and biggest promoter is slandering you on Twitter. And you've got to take the next fight against an Eddie Alvarez or whatever old fucking washed up former UFC star that they're going to throw at you and try to replenish your value. I don't know, man. I think that it's a bigger blow than a lot of people are thinking it is, because a lot of Mike Perry's mystique was built around how much of a badass the guy was. And the dude in there against Jake Paul last night didn't look like a badass to me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Connor sending him to hell on Twitter and saying that he's fired is a colossal failure from a business owner. Like, if Connor's part owner, the way that you put it just made me think, man, if Connor's really in business with these guys, don't send your number one attraction to hell after a tough loss. Like that seems like bad business practice. Like
promotional malpractice is what you would say, right? It's also, but it's also that
that's coming too. That's
sorry. No, but that's it. I think that's yes. I'm going to say this. It's weird that it's a larger audience than what the BKFC crowd is. I think if they do like the business well, I'm not thinking this is probably going to be like maybe not like maybe 250,000 buys, maybe less than that. I doubt this sold well, right?
Probably
biggest audience of Perry's career, and I doubt it's going to surpass 250,000 buys. I doubt it.
Yeah, but it's still, like you said, biggest moment in his career. I don't know. But let's move this thing along. Flip side of the coin here. flip side, and now you guys are Jake Paul's management team. Now we know the move and the call out that he made in the ring in the post fight interview last night, which in my opinion was a brilliant fucking marketing ploy. But if you are his team, who do you advise Jake Paul to actually fight next? And do you stick with the hopes of the Tyson fight? Do you actually pursue a fight with Poeton, or do you have something else in mind entirely?
I'll go first. Yeah, I think him calling out Poton is great, but is he insane? Like, no, stop it. Stop this. He's under contract anyways. He can't get out of it. I don't even think Dana would let him go out to kill the kid either. But no, he should honestly just abandon the Tyson fight because Tyson had a health scare on a goddamn airplane. A man's closer to the what's it called, collecting security checks
Social
at this point, right? Social security. So like, what are we doing here, right? Even if it is going to be on Netflix. The other thing too is that like if we're still doing this thing where he's fighting names, where that nobody is going to pay attention to other than your hardcore MMA fans, he needs to fight Tommy Fury to get that loss back. That's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me is like, why are we not calling for that fight now? Yes, Poton is on a momentum spree. Tyson is a name that people, I don't know, pay for, but they'll definitely want to watch, especially if it's on Netflix, however that works out. I think him fighting Tommy Fury to get that win back, that's the only thing that should be on his mind. Because everybody's going to remember, the one time he actually faced a boxer who wasn't that great, who actually has some skill, even if he's terrible, he lost. That's the only thing that should be in his mind. I'm sorry, get that win back. Then we'll talk.
I'll tell you why you're wrong, Austin. There's only two people on the earth that care about Tommy Fury, and that's Tommy Fury and apparently you. Like, we'll give Jake shit about losing to Tommy Fury, but no one
He's
really.
a name in the UK.
Really,
He's a name in the UK.
No one wants to talk about that loss. Like, I mean, if we're gonna, like, I'd like the Potan call out. It doesn't make any sense. It might actually be illegal for them even to negotiate a fight. Like, it might not even be lawful for him to negotiate a fight outside of his UFC contract. I think it's smart for them to continue saying that they want to fight Tyson, even though that's just the matchmaking is looking criminal at this point, like elder abuse. But it makes money, and I think the team should still, he should still try for the Potan fight. We know it won't get it, but it's social media seems to really like it, help his popularity and whatnot, just to say that he wants it. I think it would actually be a closer matchup than people might think, skill-wise, in the boxing ring. But I think they should just continue the route that they're going on and doing bullshit and try to find a name that people get behind. And it's not Tommy Fury. Like, no one gives a fuck. Sorry, Austin. No one gives a fuck.
I know, but like, let's say, who else is there available for him? You know what I mean? If Tyson has another health situation, there's nobody else for him to fight.
I don't care.
Tommy Fury's the only one. Unless you're doing him versus his brother or him doing KSI, and no one's going to really want to pay to see that unless you're like a kid. That's what I'm saying. The only one that would make sense for him laterally.
I mean, all these fights because of the other fighters. Like, I don't really care about him.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, you want to see him lose. He could probably lose again.
It's not even about him lose. It's about seeing the other guys win or do something. I don't know.
Here's my thoughts on this matter. I don't. First off, let me touch on the Poeton thing. I think that's just such a smart fucking move to do. Regardless of if the fight's ever going to happen or if it can even legally occur, just to do that in the ring with as hot as Poeton is right now, as big as his name has become, the whole FaceTiming thing while they were in the ring together, both of them posting it on their socials, like, it almost seemed like this was a coordinated move on both their parts, which I can't be fucking mad at them for it because that had to garner tons and tons of traffic. Yeah. So, and then also, like you said, Dave, I think that's honestly, skill for skill, and even size for size, a much closer fight than a lot of people in the MMA world would think. Because you strip Poatan of his lower body weapons, and he's not as big of a threat and as multidimensional as he is in the kickboxing realm. So hey, anything could fucking happen now. I don't think it's gonna happen. Um, I don't think that the Tyson fight should happen, but I do think that he'll probably continue to pursue it. So that is a possibility. And then I got a couple of just like two oddball possibilities that I think would be fun fights, or at least crazy fights. What about a Jake Paul versus a Darren Till?
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's I didn't think of that. I don't know why. Maybe because you got
Yeah.
single legged in his last thing.
I mean,
But yeah,
they're both, both their names are in the public's eye right now. Till ain't got shit going on. Obviously, isn't going to pass many drug tests. So they can find a commission somewhere that, will allow it. Then fucking, yeah, but let those two guys go at it. That'd be a fun fight. And
that's a
then
good
also,
idea.
my second one, and this is a bit of throwing the lamb to the slaughter in a sense, but when you break it down, it could be a semi-competitive fight. What about Jake Paul takes, 6 months and runs himself through a couple more cycles of the juice and gets a little bit bigger, puts on another 20 pounds or so? Jake Paul versus Francis Ngannou in a boxing match.
Oh dear God.
Hey, everyone's saying that Jake's walking around at over 230. Uh, Ngannou's coming off of getting fucking absolutely starched by Anthony Joshua. So, his stock took a hit. He's not being looked at as the juggernaut that he once was. Jake is the more trained and seasoned boxer at this point. It's got storylines. Like, what the fuck? Why not? Jake Paul versus Francis Ngannou.
Okay, I got a
You
curveball
think?
for you, real
Oh
quick.
jeez.
What
Serious.
what do Jake Paul and Francis Ngannou have in common?
PFL.
PFL MMA contracts.
Oh.
I mean,
I
they're
just
both obviously never going to fight in MMA. They both have MMA contracts with PFL. I got that would be the only way to get me actually really interested in Jake Paul fight is if you fought some kind of older name in MMA. Like I do like the Till matchup,
Yeah.
and I would watch the Till matchup. It'd be the same thing as the Perry matchup. Like I really don't care on the outcome. I'm just watching for Till. Maybe something fun will happen, but I don't really care. But like if he actually did like an MMA match, I would be legit interested to see that. And he's under contract. Man, PFL is stupid. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
All right. Well, let's move this thing along once again, and let's get into the topic that you guys already started to touch on. This will lead us right into our next segment of the day. Connor's gone tweet crazy once again. Immediately following last night's Paul vs. Perry bout, McGregor went on what can only be assumed to be another nose beer fueled Twitter tirade, laying into both men, but really giving a lashing to his apparent employee, Mike Perry. And by the end of it, Connie had given Platinum his walking papers, it would seem. Some back and forth between the two would follow via various media sources, with Perry claiming McGregor can't fire him, but nevertheless, it certainly made for some fun podcast fuel. What exactly do you guys think is Connor's angle in all this? Like, is he just posting these tweets and further disparaging the name of a brand he's now part owner of? Is this Connor being Connor and doing Connor things, or do you think that there's maybe some kind of deeper business play at hand here? I got a pretty wild theory, but I'll save that to go last. So, which one of you guys wants to go first on what the fuck is Connor up to with these tweets?
I'll go first just because I'm going to be really quick, and I already said that. I already kind of commented on this, how I think it was bad business practice from Connor. I don't think it was like any kind of like master plan or like setting up future fights or anything like that. I think Connor was just like watching the fight, like, and so he's probably, a little coked up, got some alcohol in him or something. He's probably like, man, this guy is shit boxing. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, because Mike's boxing apparently looked very rudimentary at best last night. So maybe he just saw that and he's like, he couldn't help himself and he just wants to talk shit because that's kind of still a big part of who he is. So no future plans. He just wanted to get a dig in because Mike didn't look great. And also Connor wants to be the guy. Like he has to be the one that stands out. So now they're both involved with BKFC. And he probably wants to stand out as the face of BKFC and not Mike.
Yeah, that is possible. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah. Cocaine probably has a lot to do with this. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but yeah. He's just on one, bro. He's probably pissed that he can't fight until later this year, apparently, is what they're saying, and it's still gonna be Chandler. And he's like, I don't want to fight Chandler. I want to do other stuff. And it's like, bro, we've been putting this off for like 2 years at this point. You gotta fight somebody. And he's like, well, what if I go over to BKFC? You can't. You're under contract. Ah, damn it. Do I have to fight Chandler? Yes, you still have to fight Chandler. All right, that's fine. He's like a kid who's just stuck inside during the summer because his parents didn't give him permission to leave and go have fun. So he's literally just at his home, just like losing his shit because he's like, I'm bored. I don't know what to do now. oh, Perry thinks he can do this. Oh, you know what? No, I'm the president. But he's actually not the president, but because that's the other thing too. Is like, what was it? What was the press conference they were doing? Lazy. They had Connor there, and
they did a presser in Spain for an upcoming BKFC event, and they had Connor, come on stage and promote the fights, and rather than say that factually that he is a part owner of BKFC, he just flat out called himself the owner of the whole goddamn thing. He is the owner of BKFC.
Yeah, it sounded like he was also saying, like, look at these 155ers. I might have a couple here, that I might have to fight. It's like it's like he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's kind of like just stuck. He just seems like he's just there with like a promotion that he wants to be in charge of, but he can't. And on top of it, he's like if Dana is Connor and Lorenzo Fertitta and Joe what was his name? Joe
Silva?
The matchmaker? Joe Silva, yeah. Like if Joe Silva
he's not around anymore.
No, yeah, but like you know what I mean though. Like there's the guy that's the face. Yes. Well, there's the guy that's the face, right? And then there's the guy that actually runs the thing right now.
Mhm.
And Dana still is kind of like involved in the behind the scenes, so that's not quite accurate, but like Connor's basically the face. But
Dana Face and Hunter Campbell is the guy behind the scenes.
Yes, thank you. That's who it was. And Dave Feldman is 100% the guy that's actually running the promotion. I mean, hell, what was it for the Rockhold Perry fight? He put a second mortgage on his house to support the promotion. So, I'm pretty sure it's just him kind of throwing the digs out there because like, unless he's doing the Dana playbook, which is trash your fighter, so that way the promotion looks better regardless. And it's like, I don't think that works in this case.
All right, well, let me jump in here with my wild theory, and it is just that. It's just a theory, so I don't want nobody coming at me in the comments here. Put your tinfoil hat on for a moment. Now, what if Connor is pulling a classic pro wrestling move here, and he's building heat between him and Perry to sell a future fight between the two of them in BKFC? Now, think about it for a second. You got the disgruntled employee in Mike Perry versus the boss in Conor McGregor as he views himself, a la a Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon feud in the WWF. It's fucking genius. You get a mega payday for both of them. There's huge headlines if these two face off. You get tons of spotlight on BKFC, way more than you do with just Conor being your figurehead, or with Mike Perry returning to fight, whoever. Conor gets paid on all ends as not only a fighter but also a co-owner. And all he's got to do is just sit down with his law team and the brass at UFC and find a way to buy himself out of his contract and become a free agent. totally possible. This could definitely happen. Yeah, I know it's never gonna happen, but it would be fucking sweet if like you go all the way back to when they had that face off against each other when Connor was just at the event when Mike Perry fought back a couple months ago. Like, so you've got all this B-roll and all this footage that you could use to build sizzle packages for this rivalry, and it would never fucking happen. But an owner, part owner of an organization facing off against like the top talent in his promotion, it would be fucking sweet.
Yeah, that's straight out of WWE. Vince McMahon fighting some guy. I like it.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a possibility that like David Feldman probably is willing to work with the UFC in order to give Connor a fight
Mm-hmm.
with Perry. I
Oh, he
mean,
obviously is. Yeah, definitely. They've met before, him and Dana. It's just
Yeah.
the other.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say
I
that.
think the UFC. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's more of a thing because like the UFC is gonna hold on to Connor, like even if it's just a corpse at this point. But the opposite, they need to give him a fight. So I mean, nobody wants to watch him fight Chandler at this point. So I'd rather watch Barry. Him and Barry.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to cut weight. It's at 170. Who gives a shit?
That was a good point too you made there, Dave, because that furthers my conspiracy theory here. There was that photo of Feldman and Dana meeting that Feldman posted to his Instagram like 6 months ago, and it said "big things in the works" or something along that line.
Yeah.
I know the pieces fit. It could happen. It could happen.
It could happen. I just think UFC is like really, or Dana at least, and maybe the head honchos over there are really like kind of skeptical about cross promotions because both times they did it turned out bad. I mean, Connor versus Floyd. I mean, Connor lost, but it wasn't like a disaster. But like when they let Chuck go fight over in Pride or whatever, that was like a disaster.
This is different. You'd have control of the branding. You're just paying Connor out so that way you get what you can out of him. Perry's more of a person that a majority of the audience is more willing to watch at this point because Chandler has not fought anybody since his last fight. And it's not like it was a grandiose performance against an aging skeleton of Tony Ferguson. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just interesting that we're at this point and we're like living in the twilight zone of somebody else's career.
Okay, bleeders, we're going to get to the last topic of the day, and we're going to end it hopefully on a positive note. JBR is quickly approaching its 1 year anniversary in September. Hard to believe that, but it's true. We're also rapidly climbing towards our modest goal of 100 subscribers. Now, when we started this thing, I'm not sure any of us really had much in mind other than just bullshitting about a sport that we love. So, fellas, as we inch closer to the 1 year mark of doing this show, how do you guys feel about Just Bleed Radio? And I guess, what are your hopes for how we continue moving forward?
Let's see. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect when we first started this. I just wanted a platform for us, hardcores to just be able to talk about combat sports and primarily MMA. And I I enjoy the fact that we have a fan base, which is something I had never thought we'd have. I I enjoy the fact that we have people who interact with us on a regular and actually like our content. And then the fact that we're able to do this, make time for it, it's not easy to get everybody scheduled on the same time, especially when we all have lives, and not to mention the combat sports calendar is never favorable to us. So
Yeah.
I I'm being honest. I'm happy that we have this. I'm happy that we get to do this. I'm happy that we will be able to continue to do this in whatever capacity that we get to, and whether it becomes something bigger, great. If it's just us where we are here, and we're steadily a couple of years from now grow our subscribers to substantial numbers, and even then it's just like I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm happy to have this in whatever capacity we get it.
Fuck yeah. Dave, what do you think?
For me, for the most part, I just hope that the show that you guys are still recording a year from now, and I'm not too concerned about the numbers and all that. I mostly do it to help you guys, and I like what you guys do. So I'm just hoping to maybe pick up some new editing skills and just hope, no matter what the numbers look like, that you guys continue on for the foreseeable future recording, because Danger and Austin have good takes, and as YouTube comments will tell you, Lazy's got those spicy bad takes we all love so much. So I'm not ready to stick around.
Oh. Well, yeah. Now that I've been insulted on my own show, yeah, when we started, like I said, I don't think that any of us really thought much was going to come of this. It was just a thing for us to kind of get on here and have fun and BS about, MMA and all the different stuff in this combat sports sphere that we all enjoy so much. And we already were dedicating a lot of our lives to watching this shit and consuming all of it and talking about it on our own. So it only made sense to take that leap and go in the next step and do this little podcast thing that we've been doing for damn near a year now. So yeah, I'll go ahead and say that I hope that a year from now we're still doing it. And I would like to say that I don't care about the numbers, but that would be a lie, because I hope we get rich and fucking famous. I want money, motherfucker.
That's so true. That's fair. That's fair.
I don't want rich and money. I see the way my life works with rich and fames, everything else would go to shit even more. But I'm here for the good times and for the interactions with you guys. So
Yeah.
And then also, shout out to all the dedicated fans that do always watch and like and leave us the comments. And it's always fun to have people to interact with. And it's nice knowing that there are folks out there that sit through all these fucking long ramblings of ours. So shout out to all the bleeders.
yeah, point to make is I'm just the editor when I say this stuff. I'm just like labor when I say it.
Editor is still important, and your takes are welcome. Come on. No, not to mention, shout out to Danger, who's not here due to his beans accident. Unfortunate at timing as it is. Shout out to former members of this, situation that we got going on here. Lem, everybody that's participated and been a guest on the show. I mean, what we do here is we do it because we love to do it, and we do it because we have people that love what we do.
Yeah. And in the future, should anybody want to be a guest on this show, just reach out to us. I mean, it's not always just the four of us by choice. It's just, we are the only losers that can seem to make time to do this every week. So if you ever want to be on the show, just give us a holler. All right. I think that's going to just about do it. Yeah. What do you know? We did it again, guys. We have reached the end of another show, and we made chicken salad out of chicken shit. It's an amazing thing that we can do here with just a little bit of elbow grease, some spit, and a roll of duct tape. So next week is, of course, the mega show that is UFC 304. So we'll be coming at you extra hard for another episode of the Weekend Roundup. I'm still searching for a 4-pack of Boddingtons. God save the bed.
Oh, I was expecting you to have it. Come on.
Still looking, but yeah. We got to get the fuck out of here, though, guys. So don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and we will catch you all next week. Chee-wee-wees, motherfuckers!
Oh, shit.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
Later.
Tomorrow.
Chachi's not trying to say goodbye now. He's like, I'm done.
Speak, Chatri, speak.
Speak.
He's busy biting my wrist.
Oh, shit. You know what we forgot to say? We forgot to mention the main event for Denver. God damn it.
Oh, yeah.
What main event for-
Yeah. We'll put it back in whatever. That's fine.
What main event for Denver?
This is a UFC Denver from last week.
Oh,
Rose and Tracy.
yeah, that was terrible.
God damn it. Next time. Who gives a shit?
More importantly,
Damn it.
everybody's favorite, Pat Barry.
Yeah.
That's
He was my favorite for about a month before I knew much about him. I just knew he threw hard leg kicks at heavyweight.
it's
This was years ago.
I still maintain that the HD in Pat Barry's name stands for horn dog.
that's you know what? You can't really deny it.
I imagine a chameleon would be grapple heavy.
Oh yeah, with those fucking hands they got.
Right, those claws.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just able to just go slowly, but they can they got pretty hefty grip strength.
Yeah. Imagine the wrist control from a chameleon. Whew.
Oh my god. Shit, we've done it. We've done the animal talk without danger.
Bean, 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 beans, 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 bean. Bean, 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 beans, bean, 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 beans, bean, 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 beans, bean, 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 beans, bean, 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 beans, bang, bang, beans, bang, beans, baked beans, beans.